Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yeah. Yeah. From the land of the.
What is up, everybody? Once again, another episode of the Banter Zone. Here with.
What's happening, Terry?
And I'm Simon. And we got a lot of football to talk about.
Yeah.
CPL.
A lot of CPL.
The signings, like, so crazy. We were going to do a separate episode, and then there was like 5 more, and then these guys started, so we're like, you know what, let's hold off until the next week, and then the Banter Zone will be CPL signings. Still a little bit of other stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
There's been a couple funny, a couple sad things that's going on in the world, not so much locally, but some interesting stuff over in Germany.
Yeah.
Dylan's super happy still. Our boy Alphonso Davies made his debut for Canada, which we'll let the Bundesliga reporter touch on.
What else?
Last week
we did another episode of Rooted.
This time we had Martin Ash, Cavalry FC assistant coach and technical director.
Correct.
And a goalkeeper coach, aka Kitman. Jordash Santiago.
All I gotta say is, if you'd like to talk, no. What am I trying to say? If you would like to listen, call Jordan, because if you're a good listener, that man can talk. It was fun though. It was a different experience. We had fun.
It was a good one. A couple beers. It was good.
Yeah.
Thanks again, once again, at Rail Yards. If you haven't checked them out, near the airport in Calgary, the place is pretty bomb.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah.
But we'll be doing a couple more things out of there, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah.
But lots. So we'll let.
Let's go. Let's get some story time started here. Let's get this going.
Harry's story time.
Story time.
So, I'm going to start off with like a somber moment here, and I want to just say, give our condolences at the moment. There was a player that did get into an airplane crash last week. Plane disappeared more or less. They can't find the wreckage.
Yeah, nobody knows. It's a little fishy in the Channel Isles. So the plane disappeared off a certain point. Player was signing over at Cardiff from Nantes. Never even made it to Cardiff.
No, sent off some scary text messages being like, "Hey, if I don't make it,
which is kind of that's super sketchy."
It really is.
But yeah, I mean, it's been 6 days, 7 days?
It's been a bit now.
6 days or something like that. Chances are that they're going to find him now are pretty slim, or that they're going to find him alive, unfortunately, are pretty slim. They did that GoFundMe.
Yeah, the GoFundMe page. Try to get, private investigators, private searchers out there. Search not only for the wreckage and that player, but to look for everybody else as well, which is awesome. Yeah. You know, there are other family members out there, not only one player in specific. That is impacted by this. So once again, our condolences.
Yeah, it's cool to see. I mean, some of the players step up to help fund it and help out. But yeah, kind of sad. Hope they find them, just at least to get that closure for the family. You know what I mean? But what do you do, man?
That's true.
That's one of those things. It's shitty.
And on that note, let's move over to a team that's a bag of dummies. Also known as PSG.
I think you say a bag of something else.
PSG, everybody knows PSG for a few different things, okay? PSG's been a team that's been great. A team that, when they shit the bed, they shit the bed. Yeah. They're also a team that, when they get into racial issues, they're always number one.
And they like to go do it right.
Yes. So if you remember, what was it, a couple months ago, we were discussing how PSG was having camps, so their tryouts for different players are from all around the world, but they were grouping them in categories. Okay, we're not getting into the categories again, but you can already assume what we mean by categories. Okay, But finally, this bag of dummies finally got fined. So 100 million euros.
100,000.
100,000 euros.
100,000.
Honestly, PSG, you get it. You get it how they are a team that consistently stays up there. You always hear their name.
They always
good
win
publicity,
the league.
Bad publicity, but this is just stupid.
That's that's going too far.
But I'm glad they finally got fined, and I hope this sets the stage for every other team out there. You don't hear a lot of it happen, but if it happens, PSG guaranteed to happen somewhere else. Hate to say it.
Yeah, and it is, and they're PSG just happen to get caught because they're the big guys, right? So I guarantee you they're not the only club that decides to choose their players based on race and color and stuff like that. But well done, PSG.
Yeah, seriously. Dummies.
At least you got what was coming. You got fined.
Yeah, we did.
With all the issues with racism and crap around the league, and then you got the clubs that are backing the teams for, no racism, say no to racism, and then the clubs are doing racist shit.
Yeah, you wonder where it's stemming from, right?
Yeah.
Let's go over to another dummy. I should just call this the dummy episode. Because what has happened is, if you know of Kamara from Fulham, okay, he's a striker.
Moron.
He just got banished from that team. When I say banished, that means don't come near the club, don't come talk to anybody in the club.
Contract canceled,
Why? You're wondering? Because he decided to get into a fight. All right, he got into a fight.
It wasn't even a player, right?
No, it was somebody behind the scenes, a member of the staff of Fulham on Monday. So this was yesterday. Okay, what's wrong with people?
But stupid, you're sitting at that level. I get it. Your team's going through tough times and things aren't
Emotions
great.
are running high.
But you don't need to be an idiot and go pick fights with your own staff members.
Go buy a punching bag.
But I guess we don't really know the entire story.
There's different things you can do, right? I'm not going to get into the other stuff you can do to get frustration out. But you get frustration out by buying a punching bag. Maybe you got a beautiful house. Go punch the walls. Every time you walk by, you'll be like, oh, that was me. And you won't do it again.
Yeah.
Just stupid.
That was a pretty dumb one, though.
No,
I didn't even believe it at first. When I first saw that, I was like, what? No way, they can't. Yeah, fighting with your own staff members. Well done. You get it sometimes on the field. You hear stuff and you see stuff and training and stuff. It's just things get heated. Yeah. But staff member, you don't know. I guess maybe he said something ignorant to him, or just the fact that Kamara was being shit and hasn't scored in a while and called you out on it and hurt your feelings.
Maybe he didn't even call him out that hard. Maybe it's just hey, bud, maybe just next time, do this.
Don't be shit.
Yeah. When the ball comes to you, make this touch. Don't be
and go score. Oh, who knows?
Anyways, here's another one. Okay, I'm gonna keep this for the last one. That's the last story of the day here. Terry Henry fired.
Yeah, remember we were talking it would be nice to see Henry do step in as a managerial role and do well because he's got that understanding of the game that separates him from the rest, right?
And that was the biggest thing, especially when he got signed by Monaco. We were talking exactly.
We're hoping, we're expecting good.
But he's won 4 out of his last 20 matches, so
not so good. I mean, it could be the team around him. You don't really. I never followed Monaco. I don't really know much of what has gone on. But results are results, and that's what you need in this league.
Well, the funny part is, they fired Terry Henry. Okay, first they suspended him, then they fired him, and then they brought back.
Yeah, the
old coach.
Yeah, the one that he won titles, whenever that was.
But still, at the same time, I thought they were taking the, what everybody else says. We're going to take a step forward. We're going to move in the right direction.
Just kidding.
Let's reverse this.
Yeah, well done. Well done, Monaco.
Just whatever. What can you say? We've watched him suffer throughout many different league plays, and yeah.
I mean, he went from the MLS, so I guess this can't be much worse than that. Yeah.
All right, let's get into some FA here.
A little English. We went over to this is the 5th round of the.
There's a couple upsets.
4th round.
4th round. 5th round's coming up. Yeah. But there was a few upsets. If you haven't seen a few of them, here's one. Everton dropped.
Yeah, but Millwall's championship, I believe. I'm pretty sure they're championship side.
3-2. You lost against a team that. Sorry, were you just searching how long they've been? Or
no, I was gonna. I think they're in championship. I'm pretty sure they're in the championship. But they're championship side.
So they dropped the championship. And don't get me wrong, I know we've seen a lot of FA Cups as of late. There has been some great ones, we just saw. Watch replays of one earlier on.
Yeah,
today.
Barnet and Brentford. Massive. Drew, so they do a replay. Now they go back over to Brentford to play it. So,
but just saying,
cool to see. That,
it's understandable. But when Everton's dropping to a team like that, a team as diverse as Everton,
You know what's heartbreaking?
There's an issue.
Yeah, and what's heartbreaking is that's England's keeper, Jordan Pickford, Everton's goalie. Twice, so remember the Liverpool game, when they were tied with Liverpool in the last minute, he made that stupid save off the bar and they got scored on in extra time, conceded. And this game again conceded in extra time, dying minutes and loses.
This
like,
just sucks.
I was watching it and it broke my heart, and I'm not even an Everton fan. Like, well, I mean, I wish Everton well because I know a lot of people who cheer for him, but
Still.
that is heartbreaking. This one made me laugh. And if I did the math correctly, and if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But in the league standings, West Ham is 58 places above AFC Wimbledon, who is last place in League One.
Okay.
Or League Two, I can't remember. But they're 58. It's 58 spots, a difference. AFC Wimbledon knocks out West Ham.
But that's almost impossible, don't you think?
What do you mean?
It should be. That should never happen. That's something that's
it
supposed to be. That's what I'm trying to say. It's impossible. That should never happen. But it happened.
That much of a and that's what. And I was watching some of the pundits talk about it, and in reality is, you know, at a League Two, League One level, you'll see some players that are good enough to play in the Premier League, but the problem is they're not consistent enough. They don't have the fitness to go as long. Blah 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 blah. Right. So this is one game to step out and do something. But really, besides that. Another one, and this was not really an upset. Well, it is if you're an Arsenal fan. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer done it again.
3-1 final. Man, you takes it.
Alexis Sanchez.
Oh, I know. Finally.
Gotta say that was a nice goal. Do we have our boy back?
I think we do.
You saw it, that game, and he didn't celebrate against Arsenal at first. He didn't. And then Jesse Lingard, did you see the moonwalk?
Oh, man, that was beautiful.
Now everybody's making fun of like Emirates Stadium, and that he says it's nice to allow Arsenal fans to come to his dance floor to watch him dance. It's like, oh my god, man. That was well done by Jesse Lingard. Scores a goal, and then our overpriced French midfielder Anthony Martial scores.
I love Martial. So.
Yeah, and it wasn't me. Everybody called him the overpriced, right? Everyone was so mad. Why would you guys pay 50 mil? I have disliked him at times, but he was just not performing for Mourinho.
No.
I think it was all managerial issues. But really, FA Cup, is there anything else?
No. Honestly, no.
Chelsea?
No.
No. A couple replays, nothing
crazy.
But then now, not until mid-February, looks like United drew Chelsea. Of course we get another tough one. Why can't we just get like an easy game? Why couldn't we play like Doncaster or something like that?
Because when we play easy teams like that,
that's true. We lose.
We have the tendency of losing.
Well, look what happened. Yeah, these guys are stepping up and doing that to others. So,
we felt as of last week we didn't touch a lot on the CPL, and I know we did not. We did talk a lot of bullshit last week. And guess what? We're going to get back to the CPL side of stuff. There was a few signings last week.
Yeah, like 45 of them. Jesus Christ. Settle down. We can't keep up. But no,
we're going to touch bases
awesome.
with as many players as we can right now.
Yeah. So we'll start with, this was going back last week. Oliver Minatel signed with Cavalry FC. Brazilian forward.
Yeah, this was a big one. This was there was many international players out there, but this was a big one that opened the doors for everybody else, for all the other teams.
Yeah, kind of, seeing a Brazilian player, that's obviously, you associate soccer, Brazil. They're just kind of like bread and butter.
But you talk about crybabies and you're like, Brazil.
And like diving, and then Brazil. But hopefully he's not any of those. We're not talking about Oliver, okay?
Yet.
Just, we're going to hopefully meet him soon, but we're not talking about you. Just don't be there.
First question for this interview.
How
you dive?
How much do you dive per game? They should have that as a stat for like some South American players.
Do you believe diving is part of your exercise?
Dives per game, 2.3. I think we can keep it like under 2. That's a good number.
Yeah.
But congratulations, a big signing. He last played in South Melbourne in Australia. Another one that happened, and this one was kind of.
Oh, this is the Forge guy.
Forge FC signed Bertrand Awundi.
He's from Cameroonian.
Cameroonian international. But that's a big one. I mean, to be an international for Cameroon, he did play in the MLS. from Minnesota United FC. And
Decided he wanted to leave the league because it was shit.
And yeah, and he was splitting the time between them and Charlotte Independence.
Yeah.
So between the USL and the MLS teams. So to go from that, and this is where what you just said, right? And that kind of, as bad as we talk about MLS, but that's got to reiterate some of that point, no?
It definitely has to. Like you look at it, and I'm not saying, I am saying
African
MLS
player probably. Here's the difference. African player is probably pretty skilled on the
got
ball.
speed. He probably has proper touches.
And maybe he's like, you know what, I'm not going to get this or strive and be better in the MLS, so maybe it's time to see what I can go do at a different level. So splitting your time from MLS to a USL and deciding,
USL and MLS are two different game styles.
Exactly.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
We've seen a few USL games, and I've watched a handful of MLS games, which I regret, but it happens.
Yeah. Talk so bad, like I think we closed every door ever to ever do anything with anybody MLS.
MLS is gonna call, hey, do you want to come down here and do some interviews? Yeah, we'll be right there. And then
But we love MLS.
It's be like,
We love
excuse me,
them.
guys, what happened? Your league is shit. No, I would still take the opportunity. You'd still meet some cool players.
Like, oh, we love the MLS. No, just kidding. I mean, yeah, we just grouped them as it's a blanket over the whole league.
Yeah.
Are there skilled players? Hell yeah. Are there good teams? Yeah, but most of them aren't.
And watching MLS is watching like footy from the 70s and 80s in the English league. And don't get me wrong.
A lot of elbows, a
horrible.
lot of kickings,
Yeah.
a lot of bad passes,
Just crap.
scrambly play, crap.
Anyways.
But Cameroonian international Bertrand looks to be a good signing. Should be a skilled player. Looks like a big lad.
Yeah.
Things are looking good for them.
York 9.
Couple young boys here. York 9 signed Cyrus Rolex,
Rolex.
20-year-old striker.
Every time you say Rolex, I just want to like roll the dice.
Roll the dice. Rolex. That should be a celebration. Hey, just so you know, Rolex.
Can you do that?
There's your
Roll the
celebration.
dice?
Not jerking off, but not wanker. Like
Don't
dice.
wanker.
Dice. Anyways,
York 9.
York 9, TFC 2, TFC Academy, scored 17 goals in 17 games in 2010.
Which isn't bad.
So in 2017.
Which is awesome.
So young lad, another foundational player that, and I mean not foundational is one of the first signings, but foundation like lay the brickwork down, make sure that foundation's tight on your own club now. So that's good. Get some young guys in. And here's the noisy neighbors to the north.
FC Edmonton. So, they had like two buddies that loved each other so much and decided they wanted to choose their own goaltender coach and brought him in. I have no idea. Sorry.
Dylan Powley, now worked with Dylan a couple times over the last few years. FC Edmonton local, played McEwen, came up through the ranks a little bit in Edmonton, open trialist at Foothills FC. Ended up landing a spot as a starting keeper. Took them to the national championship, but lost. Mm-hmm. I just have to point that out because you're from Edmonton. And the Calgarian, Marco, won. Just bugging you. Anyways,
No, you're not.
no, a little bit. Still Calgarian when it comes down to it, all right? We loved you when you were here, but now that you're not, well...
You know what,
I'm
Dylan Powley,
sure-
if you're watching this, give us a call. Reach out to us. Let's come meet you. Let's hang out.
I think it's time for a chat.
Yeah, it's time.
Him and Connor James, teammates, they've known each other for a while. They've been around each other for a minute now.
Lots of time together.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, they announced the signing of Lars Hirschfeldt, Canadian international, 48 caps, 2002 CONCACAF Gold Cup with Canada, played in the Champions League at some point. So
He must have played with Martin.
yeah, Nashi played with Nashi. Seems like in the Gold Cup, but another quality guy. Good to hear. Pacific FC now.
Pacific. I have a lot of love for Pacific for some weird reason. Like, I feel they are going to roll. They're going to do their thing.
Now it's you hold them. Remember what Harry says. He's talked a lot about Pacific winning, and I mean they got. We were talking about Marcus Hayter, who signed before, and we read some stuff about it. We had heard about him. So and that's a make or break, right?
But
this guy can step in and what if he comes out in the league and just destroys everybody?
Because you got to realize that like every team right now is putting a puzzle together, right?
Yeah.
So right now it does fit, but there's those opportunities we can get halfway through the season, maybe finish the season, and be like, actually, this puzzle piece was a corner piece, but for some reason thought it was in the middle. But sorry, go ahead. Who the Pacific side?
Noah Verhoeven, and then goalkeeper Village. Abbotsford boy, and Noah Verhoeven is Surrey. So like both BC boys, it looks like all of Pacific's players were all West Coasters so far. So that's awesome to see. And the good thing is they're not just like West Coasters and picking up like players locally. Like Hayter was Dundee. He was Scottish Premier. So obviously he has the quality to be a top lad and top player in the league.
But I know we're going to be moving on to these guys, but same thing with York 9. York 9 is the same thing. They've signed so many players that are actually from that region, which is insane.
Yeah.
Sorry, that province or region. From that province. But we do see a lot of them signed from there.
Well, this is the York region. You're right.
It is a region in a sense, but...
That's what they kind of identify that area as, is the York region, because of the 9 communities.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
but in the sense...
look, right here.
Oh, look at that. York region. But this one was crazy. This we're talking about York now, right?
Yeah.
Like...
You say it.
If you like Ito Japan, you're going to like this kid.
Say the name.
If you like Ito Japan, you're going to like this kid. I can't say his name, man.
Wataru Murafushi. I hope that's right.
I apologize. Like, I'll take the blame for calling you Ito, but seriously, at the same time, this guy...
You're a dick.
But look at this guy's sheet. This guy has a crazy resume.
Yeah. Singapore Premier League, Singapore Cup, Singapore League Cup, and Singapore Community Shield. So, they called him the Invincibles when he played for the name I'm going to butcher it as well, Albirex Niigata. But yeah, the unbeaten season, 21 wins, 3 draws, and 0 losses. So I would say this guy might be a good player considering he was the 2018 Player of the Year in Singapore.
Yeah.
So would you go on a limb and say that this is the guy to watch right now?
I'd say he'd be one of the guys to watch. I'm not going to say he'd be the guy to watch.
He's going to be fast as shit, watch.
But I understand that. But at the same time, what we really need to see is the actual full roster in order to do that. And yes, I don't know where I've been pulling a lot of blind predictions out of the air, but at the same time, will I say he's going to be a player to watch? I'm going to say he's going to be one of the players to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Really, it all depends on what happens around him and how the teams mesh. He could come out and be pacey and super talented, but if that chemistry ain't there, then yeah, obviously.
Right? It's the exact same thing. We talked about that earlier.
You're bang on. Now we'll go over to
Halifax.
Go right over to that the left coast. No, that's the right coast. The left coast is the west coast.
Depending which way we're standing.
If you're facing south, it's the left coast, but that's too far. East coast, whatever.
Those
guys over by the Rock. Halifax FC, the Wanderers. 19-year-old Vincent Lamy and Elliot Simmons, 20-year-old.
He reminds me of Chucky.
Just because of the red hair. He kind of... But... Lamy's from Sherbrooke, Quebec.
I can't wait to start meeting all these players. Like, as the year goes on, a lot of them are going to be like, what did you say about me?
Yeah, no. Like, I was like, it was him. Why do you think I'd be diplomatic?
No English.
But he scored 25 goals playing for the Montreal Impact Academy.
Which is crazy.
Unreal.
The Montreal Impact, they are a team that is well diverse as well.
Yeah, they're just kind of unlucky at times, and they haven't done that well, and when they should have done better.
Exactly.
But they've always been a quality side.
Achieved it.
And then Simmons, who was born in Luton, England, lived just outside of Ottawa as a youth. Spent time at NK Don's Youth Academy in England.
Which is crazy, because if you look at that, you got the English side of stuff coming in. So yeah,
he ended up playing in Sweden before he was loaned to. You could say that one. You should just look at this one. Look at the name of this team.
Yeah, because that team.
Can you say it, please? Yeah. Just try.
Mechelen Poljoskut FC.
In Finland. Close it up. There's a lot of eyes. There's like 7 eyes in it. Yeah.
Can I buy a vowel, please? I'll buy an I.
Like,
Boom, 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 boom. It's just going to light up that board.
But also seems to be a quality player. Super excited to be playing there as well.
Which is cool.
And now, back over to Calgary, because this happened not that long ago, a couple days ago. But Cavalry announced 4, more or less, local boys. Dean Northover, Carlos Patino, Nico Pasquati, and Nico Giantisopoulos.
Nico Pasquati, I'm excited for. Like, that's great. That's a great signing.
Yeah, Lethbridge boy.
Yeah.
Played Lethbridge University. Just a workhorse. He was man of the match at the Cavalry and FC Edmonton Prospects game.
But he showed himself. He proved himself.
He's a workhorse. And anything I've ever heard about Nico Pasquati is that you want a player like him. You want him on your team because he works, man. His work rate is second to none. I've seen that man train. He's crazy. Dean Northover as well. Hard nosed. Kind of gives you a bit of that gritty old school, like wing back. Pretty aggressive on the ball. He's not a big guy, but
it doesn't help when you play like this.
Yeah, exactly.
You got no choice when you're that small.
Exactly. He's stocky, tough boy. But yeah, and this is funny because some of these guys, you look at them and I think some of these guys should have got offers a couple of years ago, and this shows why we needed this league. Because when Foothills did well 2 years ago and went to the national final, like, there was a lot of boys on this team that deserved a look. Yeah, they didn't get the job done, but they were everything but. There was one mistake that cost them a goal, and they ended up losing. But these are guys that should have got calls from MLS squads to come out in camps. But why didn't they? Because they're Canadian.
Not only because they're Canadian, because they play a different style. The style that you look in the MLS is a different style altogether. And I don't want to get back into this. Okay?
No. Carlos Patino, Colombian-born, but spent time with the Sounders too at USL.
Speaking of the Sounders, have you seen the ugly jerseys they released?
No, I didn't.
If you haven't, take a peek. They're nasty. They're ugly. Okay, that's enough MLS talk for the day. But take a peek.
You know what? We'll give MLS one high note. That Whitecaps jersey, the throwback from the 70s, that thing's pretty nice. I'll give them that. That was a nice jersey.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
The blue stripe across? I just like the throwback idea of it. It's pretty basic. It's just a blue stripe with white.
No.
I like the idea behind it.
One reason why I could say I kind of would like it because it would remind me of, like, the Nordiques back in the day, but at the same time, I don't.
You know what it reminds me of? The Católica in Chile, the jersey. It's almost identical. It was that same blue stripe across the chest with the blue above it. But
let's move on. What else we got?
Nico Giannisopoulos was also he's also signed for Cavalry. He played in Australia last at Davenport City Strikers, and he's originally from Markham, Ontario. And then another couple youngsters here.
Valor starting young. Like,
yeah. Carrero was one of the drafts who came from the U Sport, and they just assigned him. And then the other player Dylan Carrero was TFC, and then Dundee FC, Scotland.
But that's another thing I'm enjoying with Valor right now. Valor's signing a lot of these younger players, a lot of these guys that are like, get up and go. Like, we need to prove ourselves now if we want to stay. Yeah. They have a lot of energy, which is a good thing, but it also hurts for the coach. Because as much as you want your team to be out there and be gung-ho, same time, these guys can go out there, they'll be gung-ho. But on the flip side of stuff, when it comes down to the patience and listening, it could be...
Yeah, they lack a bit of that experience.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's 17 years old, Atardo. He was the league open trials in Winnipeg. And he was scouted then. He did have a residency at AC Chievo Verona in Italy. So he's played in Europe. He's got some international experience a bit. But, I mean, Rob Gale speaks highly of him. And
Rob Gale's a smart man, though.
Yeah, he is. And you look at his team. His team looks pretty young, and he's got a couple key good pieces in there. But for the most part, he's got a lot of young guys in there. So he's building that squad.
But good on him. Like, that's the only way to start. Like, don't get me wrong. Maybe this is crazy for me to say, but you can start, the PDL this like inauguration season, and of course, the first 2-3 seasons, you want to have your experienced guys, so you're proving something. You're getting more players on, which does you good. But at the same time, you do want to have your younger group as well, so they're out there, they're proving themselves, not only to their coaches, but themselves. So number one, the biggest thing, they proven everything to themselves. So that could be a long-term squad.
Yeah.
And it's a good and a bad thing going into inauguration season here. So.
Yeah. And I mean, we could talk about the diversity with the teams, and then, we were looking at it earlier, and there's USL, there's MLS experience, there's Premier League, there's Scottish, there's every league. There's players from
Netherlands,
everywhere.
It looks like
NCAA, Germany, Sweden.
Like, this is crazy. It's everywhere.
Lithuania,
Australia,
Singapore, like players from absolutely everywhere. So what this does for us is it shows you that how much this was needed, really.
It really was.
How much did we need this in our own country just so our players can play here where they deserve.
But just remember, these guys can only play here if we, as the fans, actually start supporting these guys. Get behind your teams. I think that's a couple of the biggest things there.
Start to get to know these boys, because you realize it now, and a lot of people are like, "Wow, it's the league's not going to be that good," because everyone's used to watching Premier League and whatever league you decide to watch. Obviously, it's top level.
Just remember one thing: it's going to be better than the MLS.
And these guys are all starting. You never know. Like, there's going to be guys in here that are going to be signing big contracts.
Correct.
Now we're going to see these Canadian kids are going to be coming, not just like once every 20 or 15 years. When was it that?
But that's where we're going to see the salary cap start to rise. And you know what? I think by the third season, and as long as everybody, I'm not even saying you have to have a proper goal, but as long as everybody comes out and proves himself, shows themselves, you have the fan base there, you know what? That salary cap is going to go from where it is now, and it's going to grow. Oh, yeah. And it's going to be massive. So, yeah.
So really good on all the teams so far. Some of the teams are starting to take shape more than others. Cavalry's got a lot of familiar faces on it. But really,
besides that,
Bundesliga Report.
Oh, we forgot all about Bundesliga. Who cares? Leave it out this time, because he's just going to sit there and brag.
He's so angry. Yeah, but we have a really good reason to brag now, too. So I can't hate on him for nothing.
That's true. All right, throw it in. To Dylan.
Hello there, welcome to the Bundesliga Report. I am the Bundesliga correspondent here on Canada Footy News, Dylan Dodge, and let's just jump right into it. And it was a great for Borussia Dortmund playing lowly Hannover 96 that really needed the points, but so did we, and we just killed them.
Stop! He's already dead.
Hakimi, Royce, Goetze, Guerrero, and Witzel all getting on the score sheet in a game that Lucien Favre said he didn't really have much control over to begin with. And those comments were echoed by goal scorer Mario Goetze, who said in an interview after the game, "We struggled at the beginning. We initially lacked control. Hannover performed well in the first half. As a result, we were not entirely satisfied with the way the first period panned out, despite taking the lead. In the second half, though, things really went well, and we took our goal-scoring opportunities and deserved to win." Goetze picks up his second goal of the 2018-19 Bundesliga season, while Marco Reus picks up his 12th. Good enough for second in the Bundesliga, tied with his teammate Paco Alcácer, and just one behind Frankfurt's Luka Jovic, who failed to get on the score sheet in today's 2-2 draw between his side Eintracht Frankfurt and Werder Bremen. The table now looks like this. And who's on top? This. And who's possibly linked with Manchester United? Him. Wait, hold on a second. That is what is coming out of the tabloids, and obviously, you take it with a grain of salt. But is Michael Zorc on his way to Manchester United to be the new director of football? Only time will tell. But supposedly, Ed Woodward wants to get in some new staff to go along with a new manager when they decide to hire someone. So there you go, Simon and Harry, a bit of Man U news in the Bundesliga Report. For the record, you can't have him because he bleeds gelb und schwarz. And if you want to continue watching Jogi Löw destroy the German national team, you can do so at the following stadiums, as the schedule has now been announced for 2019. March 20th, watch us bottle it against Serbia in Wolfsburg, or perhaps against Estonia, June 11th at Mainz. On September 6th, we play against Holland again. Yay! In Hamburg, November 16th, we'll be playing Belarus at Mönchengladbach. And finally, in Frankfurt, we take on Northern Ireland, November 19th. Looking forward to that. Either they can succeed, or the national team. Seems to be the way it is. Now, have you ever played FIFA and thought, I'm going to take a third division team in Germany and bring them all the way to the top? It doesn't happen that often, but the amount of teams that can go from the top to the bottom are surprisingly high. Some former big clubs like 1860 München and Kaiserslautern are in the 3rd division, and with Ingolstadt in the Bundesliga 2 relegation zone, they could be dropping down to the 3rd division just 2 years removed from being in the Bundesliga. Now, these teams get so little money. Similar to the 3rd division or League One in England, these teams make around €1 million. That is it. Actually, they make a little bit less than €1 million. In England, they make about €1.5 million, so it really isn't that much, whereas teams in Bundesliga 2 and the Championship make closer to 7 to 10 million euros. So there's a huge financial benefit to staying out of the 3rd Bundesliga. And it's also such a dysfunctional league. That is something that a lot of people are calling for, is the whole changing of that system. There has been protests this year, something that the movers and shakers are gonna have to think about because right now, some of these teams are not poised for success. But if the table stays the way it is, it'll be happy days for VfL Osnabrück, as they will go up to the Bundesliga 2 for the first time since the 2010-11 season, meaning huge cash influxes and hopefully a chance to stay out of the Bundesliga 3. Anyways, that is where I'm gonna call this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Simon and Harry, back to you. Haha, psych, gotcha. One last thing, I recorded this before the Bayern München game, but they did win 4-1 against Stuttgart, and Alphonso Davies finally makes his Bundesliga debut. He's the 7th youngest Bayern München player to debut in the last 20 years, and you know, he had 100% pass completion, all 3 passes. He had 4 touches, but I mean, honestly, this is a huge day, and he has a chance to be a huge star. I was listening to the Sportsnet guys. They were saying that he could be the next Atiba Hutchinson, and maybe even beyond that, because he is such a star in the making. He has such a showmanship about his game. But he'll have to work for it, because as you can tell, Bayern aren't ready to just give him a chance just because he's a promising prospect. All right, for real this time, Simon and Harry, back to you.
As you saw, Dylan bragged. Great. Anyways, thank you very much. That was awesome. Alphonso Davies.
That's good, but 4 minutes, I mean, there's not really a test yet. To me, I don't think that was real. Everyone's like, debut, 4 minutes.
That's nothing.
Let's let them have an actual proper goal. 4 minutes is nothing.
4 minutes
like
is how long I
sticking
stay
your
in the
toes
bathroom before I have to realize it's 5 o'clock and I leave the office. Okay? So,
Yeah, exactly.
but we'll see what happens there.
But on that note, that was a long one. Lots to talk about. Thanks, CPO, again, for eating up the whole show.
Yep.
But we'll carry this on. More Canadians, more everything local.
Correct. Once again, like, subscribe, share. Give us some comments.
Say something.
And watch Rooted.
Marco and Marco. Ooh, that was an old one.
Yeah. Let's go with Martin Nash.
Martin Nash and Jordan Santiago. But thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep fit and have fun. No, I can't say that. That's copyrighted.
Keep fit, have fun.
That's from...
Don't paint your faces! No.
Peace.
Come on. 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yeah.